Hi, and welcome to Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim. Thanks for being here. I always appreciate the time that you and I get to spend together, so thanks for tuning in. And I hope wherever you are that you're happy, healthy, and staying safe. On today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a brand new carbon-plated trail shoe from Hoka. It's their Tecton X.
Is there something you're scared of? What's there out in the dark? Make sure to keep all your windows.
The Tecton X is a lightweight trail shoe that features two parallel carbon fiber plates that are embedded within a dual density foam midsole. But how do they perform out on the trails? Are they worth the money? And would I buy them again? Well, those are the questions that we're going to try to answer today, so be sure to stick around. But before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes I'm about to review for you. So let's do that. But then when we come back together, we're going to take a real close look at the Hoka Tecton X to try to determine, is this the right trail shoe for you?
Get me out, take me anywhere but here. Oh, anywhere but here. Wanting something good to come, waiting for things to run away from. Are you just hiding? Yeah, walking.
Now these are a trail racing shoe. They are lightweight. They do have those carbon fiber plates, but with that comes a bit of a higher price tag. And these come in at $200 US. I did purchase these with my own money. I bought them true to size. For me, that's a men's size 9. They came in at 8.9 ounces or 251 grams on my scales, although Hoka has a stated weight on their website of 8.5 ounces, which would be right around 241 grams. So let's talk about the midsole first. Now here they have dual density foams. The top layer is their ProFly X midsole material, which is really soft and comfortable. The bottom layer is a more firm or dense foam. And then embedded between these two are two parallel carbon fiber plates. Now they're not attached to one another, so they run independent, giving it more of a suspension type of a system. They have a spring measurement of 36 millimeters in the heel, meaning that your heel sets off the ground 36 millimeters. And then in the forefoot, they have 26 millimeters spring measurement. And then they have an offset from the heel to toe of 5 millimeters. I have 37, almost 38 miles that I put in these and a variety of different trail conditions and different lengths of runs. Everything from running on pavement to begin with to get to the trails that I wanted to work out on, but also some gravel roads, a lot of rutty types of trails full of grass, lots of exposed roots. There are some real steep inclines and declines, but I wouldn't say tall. If you want to check out the more detail on the different runs that I've had these out on, you can find me on Strava. I started including my shoes on Strava just recently. Normally I keep track of that stuff on Garmin, but I wanted you guys to be able to see exactly where it is that I've been running so you can judge for yourself and make that kind of comparison as to whether or not it's the kinds of conditions that you run in. So if you want to check out those details, I'll put a link in the description below to my Strava profile so you can find me pretty easily, or you can find it on the homepage of the channel. Now I've really been enjoying running in these, and really where those plates have kind of shined for me have been on the harder packed dirt areas. When I'm on more of those forest trails, I didn't really notice it so much. There is that give in the independent suspension of those plates, so I never felt like I was unstable when I was out running in these, and I felt like I was getting some help in moving through my gait, but more so when I was on the harder packed dirt portions of it. Otherwise, I really do enjoy running in these. Just prior to running in these, I had been running in the Hoka Speedgoat 5s. They're a little bit more cushioned, but they are definitely heavier. And I felt that on the longer workouts, especially when I started getting past that 10-mile mark. I think the longest workout that I had these in was 12, but I'm going to be taking these out for a half marathon trail race this weekend because they are lighter weight and they do have those carbon fiber plates that run parallel within the midsole. It gives you a little extra pop. And I'm going to take advantage of that on those flatter, more hard-packed dirt areas or even out on the road conditions to be able to pick up the pace a little bit. And that's one of the great things about these is they're very versatile. They transition really well from the road to the trail. So I think they're going to make a perfect choice for me for race day this weekend. So let's flip these over and we'll take a look at the outsole. See how they're protecting that soft midsole foam that we just talked about. And here they feature their Vibram Mega Grip. I do like this outsole material. It's one that I prefer on trail shoes. I love it in the Speedgoat 5 and other shoes that feature it because it does such a good job under wet trail conditions, keeping you pretty tight to those trails. So I've always felt safe in these. Now these lugs are about 4 millimeters deep, so not quite as deep as the 5 millimeter lugs you find on the Speedgoat 5. And there's a little less of it, so you can see there's some exposed area there in the midsole or midsection of the shoe. But otherwise, I think it does a really good job. I do have one concern, however. There is one spot that I've noticed, and again, I've got about 37 miles in these, where there seems to be a bit of a gash in the exposed midsole foam here that wasn't covered with that Vibram Mega Grip. So durability is starting to come into question for me. Just how chewed up are these going to be? Because I don't run on super technical areas that are full of rocks and things. So for you guys that do run in those areas, that's something for you to certainly consider, is whether or not that exposed midsole material that isn't covered by that Vibram Mega Grip, just exactly how is that going to hold up, or is it going to get chewed up? I will review these again after I get 100 miles in them. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I think this is something that we're going to want to follow up on just to check out and see how durable these hold up over time. So let's talk about the upper. Now here they feature an engineered jacquard mesh material. I wouldn't say that it's waterproof, but I do feel like it is water resistant. There were a few times that I hit a couple of mud puddles where the water splashed up onto the upper and my feet did not get wet, so I was impressed with that and I appreciate that. They do have a bit of a toe cap around the end to give you a little bit of protection should you kick some roots or some rocks along the way. I've been known to do that, enough so that I've taken a few tumbles out on the trails. So not a ton of protection, but you've got a little bit of protection there. Otherwise, there's not really a whole lot going on with the upper all the way back to the heel counter, where you do see their Hoka logo there, but really no plastic overlays, nothing heavy there. So they've kept it pretty light, and I appreciate that as well. In terms of fit, I feel like there's plenty of room in terms of the width across the toe box. I felt like I had lots of room to be able to display my toes. The one thing I did notice, for me anyways, I felt like the toe box was a little bit shallow at times, but not so much so that it caused me a lot of discomfort. It's just something that I noticed when I was out on the trails, that it was kind of hitting the top of my toes from time to time. Otherwise, I felt like I got locked in and secure across the midfoot section of the shoe pretty easily. The eyelet chain is a bit different. For some reason, they went from a 6 eyelets to 7. So you can see that they extended it down all the way into the toe box quite far. They still have this stretch panel here across the toe at the start of the toe box to give you a little bit of flexibility should you need that. I've always found it to be comfortable. I liked it in the Speedgoat 5 and I like it here as well. But I did get cinched in, locked in, and secure all the way back to the heel cup. So I think they did a good job with the upper. I'm not exactly sure why they added that extra eyelet there. It didn't really cause me any concern one way or the other. And for the most part, it is a pretty traditional eyelet chain. They do go from the standard eyelets to a more of a pass-through eyelet up here towards the top. But the comfort and fit was there. And I never felt like the laces were cutting across the top of my midfoot, even though the tongue is a little bit thin. So let's take a look at that. It is a semi-gusseted tongue, not a ton of padding there, but still, I felt it to be pretty comfortable. I think they got it just about right for what they were going for, and that's to keep this shoe as light as possible and still offer some comfort. Along those same lines, if we look at the padding around the heel collar and the tab of the shoe, I'd say it's a modest amount. It's certainly not a plush shoe, but you don't need it to be. I think they did a good job here. I do like the more traditional heel counter on I wouldn't say I don't like the heel counter on the Speedgoat 5, but they do have that Achilles heel flare. From time to time, I get some stones that kind of kick up in there. So I do appreciate the fact that this is a more traditional heel counter. So how much structure do they have back there? Well, let's go ahead and put it up on my shoulder. I'll give it the pinch test. And, I'd say it's a moderate amount, enough where I felt like my heel was secure in place. I never felt like it was slipping around at all. So I think they did a good job just getting it about to where it needs to be to keep comfortable when you're out on the road. So overall, I think Hoka did a really good job with the upper. Again, I felt locked in and secure across the midfoot. It is somewhat water resistant, at least in my opinion. My feet always felt like they were dry and comfortable when I was out on the trails. Overall, the Hoka Tecton X, I think, is a highly versatile trail shoe that does a great job moving from road to trail conditions. And I think it's a good choice to pick up on race day, especially if the trail race that you're going to be running isn't highly technical, but you have some of that harder packed dirt trails that you can really pick up the pace, because I think that's where these really shine. And it's a shoe that I would spend my money on again to purchase in the future. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim.